All right, everyone. It is Wednesday night, May 7th, 2025, and we're here for another damn conversation. I'm speaking. I'm in Wood Lane, and my scheduled guest this evening is Gigabyte New York City. His actual name is Dominic. Um, Gigabyte, he works the gig apps in the New York, New Jersey markets, and he actually operates out of what I call a mom van. He used to operate out of an SUV and his Acura, and then he moved up to the mom van, and that's enabled him to take on more opportunities. Um, I'm gonna talk just a few moments because Gigabyte was he had apprised me of some technical upgrading on his computer. But I talked about in a couple of my recent videos about doing a dedicated route. In fact, I kind of mentioned this to Gigabyte in the green room, and Tire Place reached out to me today, or actually about an hour or so ago, and asked me if I was available. I told them, "Hey, we got to do it at a different number." Well, after about almost an hour, they tell me, "Well, we can't meet your number." So I'm not losing any sleep. I do know that there are people who would gladly take that offer, the initial offer, or even their counter offer, but you have to do what's best for you, and that's my situation. So it looks like Gigabyte is ready. He's not giving me a thumbs up, but I can tell by his screen that he's ready. So I'm about to bring him on, y'all. My man. Oh no, it's not it's the same screen. You still on the phone?
Yeah, I'm still currently on the phone, but
Still on the phone, Giga?
yeah, if you give me 5 minutes, I'll be
You'll
ready.
switch over, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, 5 minutes. I can't give you no 5 minutes. We on live. We on live. We on live.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. Imagine how I
Yeah, I know,
felt
I
2 weeks
know,
ago when I was in Atlanta after dropping off a load. I've been having server issues on my end. So my I don't know if I should apologize or not. I paid my bills, but I've been having server issue this evening. But anyway, what I was saying is that I dropped off a load, tried to stop by a motel to ask if I could use their lobby to do my live stream, and they told me
I
no.
know.
And so I just had to set up my phone and just work it with Ram Reekin, and that's what I did for that hour.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you,
I
thanks
started
for
watching
thanks
that
for
live stream,
agreeing. Thanks for agreeing. Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah, the thing is,
Let's see
as
here.
I
I'm looking
told
at.
you in the email, like
Mhm.
I told you in the email, I was like, I was expecting you to reach out to me, because you and I, interacted, quite a bit on each other's videos. And
Mhm.
I was like, I found it
Right.
strange that you never reached out to me to do,
Mhm.
your live stream, and I was like, what's going on? So I'm checking my email that I have listed, and I'm
Okay.
like, I'm not seeing it, I'm not seeing it. And then, I was catching up to some of your videos, just staying, up to date with what's going on with you. And then I found out,
Mhm.
because what I like to do, I like to let the videos pile up so that when I'm doing my deliveries, I could watch the videos and, help me pass time. So
Right.
something just told me to, just check, type Giza in the email, in the search. And when I did, there was your email. I was like, oh, shoots, man.
Yeah.
You hit me up since March the 30th, and
That's right.
I was
Over
now
a
getting
month.
back at you. So,
Over over
so
a month.
my
Ain't that
apologies. My
something, huh?
apologies.
You can't say that I
Definitely my
didn't try.
apologies.
Yeah, because I ain't apologizing for that, man. Yeah. Again, y'all, I'm seeing like little circles right now. It could be that y'all not hearing me. Oh no, actually, no. Gigabyte, you're back on. So is that your reception there?
Well, I'm almost done with my setup right now
Okay.
because I want
Okay.
to use my computer. Apologize for the technical difficulties of my end, because
Hey.
I haven't been in this room for a while. I've been working,
Well, now I've
so
had audio and I've had video issues um, in some of these live streams. Back in December, I lost the audio while I was I did that one with Mike Drop Barbecue out of a hotel room in Shreveport, Louisiana, and I lost the video part. And then with Nola Grind, I had what no, it wasn't Nola. It was with Nova Dasher where I had audio issues. So this shit happens, man. It happens. And so I've been working to try to
Yeah,
keep things running right. Um, even with some of the videos, like recently I bought a microphone, and for some reason, sometimes when I cut out and then cut back in, I lose the audio, and I've kind of explained that in recent videos. In fact, Gigabyte has gone dark right again. So y'all, what I'm gonna talk about again is what's happened with me today. In fact, I'm giving you kind of an insight on what my next video upload is going to be about. Um, let's see here. I'm looking at some shit as we go. Okay. Um, I admit to what I feel is having done a thirsty day today, a thirsty play. And I've been very notorious about talking about thirsties in that, in fact, we're going to talk about thirsties tonight, Gigabyte. But yes, it's been slow in my market. And while some may look at the dollar amount that I've earned and say, oh man, I'd take what you do anytime. In fact, I'd hit you upside the head with a baseball bat and take your wallet. But I'm basing it on feel. I have this feel for how opportunities are coming about. And today was one of those days where now it looks like both sides. Okay. Anyway, I've been having server issues, but so anyway, I had a catering order in hand, but then last night I missed out on booking a load board based opportunity, and I'm thinking that okay, we're gonna try it again today, and if I book that, then I have the catering, and then it's okay day. So I didn't have that, and so I saw a last mile opportunity show up, and I'm thinking that I'm going to um I might get it, and it actually went to somebody else with like 2 3 seconds. I missed it by 2 3 seconds, and probably the time that in which I missed it was um probably the time it took for me when I heard the notification, reach into my pocket and pull out my phone. So it's not that the old guy is slow in reflexes. Maybe just wasn't for me. So then um while I was doing the catering run, I saw a last mile opportunity come up, and I immediately accepted it without even trying to work the numbers. And so I'm mad at myself for accepting this shit because this is what I would call thirst numbers. If I told you the
yeah, yeah,
mile
yeah.
and distance, some of y'all would say, "Oh, I'm fine with it," but I'm not. I wasn't, and I showed up there with an attitude. I went to the drop off location with an attitude, and um, so wh- let's see. Okay, gonna work. Okay, we're gonna do it that one. All right, we're gonna pull. Looks like he's ready. All right, you're on the computer now, man. We got another view. Let's do it this way. I'm gonna let everybody see different views of Gigabyte. There we go. He's putting on his phone, putting on his earphones. So anyway, while I was doing the drop off, another last mile opportunity showed up, and it kind of bailed me out. But I mean, it was not the type of day that I would say would be a geezer type day. I felt that I did some thirsty shit, and I know that these things happen. Um, I know that people do things. They make order selections based on their personal situations. But I'm just telling you, this is one of those days where I made some decisions that kind of were save face. Um, Decisions that I normally don't make. I just don't. But anyway, you ready, man?
Ready.
You hear me?
All right. Oh, he's got the microphone. He's got everything. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I have a pretty good setup here, but I don't use it because
Mm-hmm.
I'm just busy
Mm-hmm.
working, like the W-2 and
Mm-hmm.
doing gig
Right.
work, so I'm not really in here that much. That's a sacrifice that
Right.
I made because this is like my man cave,
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That sounds like my office.
yeah,
I've got,
but
yeah,
just to add to
well,
what you
actually, I'm
were
in the
saying,
user studio, but go ahead.
yeah, just to add to
Go
what
ahead.
you were saying, sometimes it's like that, you want to have standards out here, like you want to not do a water heater for 25. Oh, what happened there? You want to not do a water heater. You hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I don't know. My screen just flickered. I don't know why. You don't want to do a. You want to
Well,
not
I
do.
think I think it's a server thing. But go ahead.
Oh,
It's
you
I
want to
think it's a
not.
server thing, and it's not just you. Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. You want to not do a water heater for $25, but sometimes you're there and you're like, this is all that I have available to me. And for me
Mm-hmm.
personally, I'm like, you know what? It's not hard. I know it's not worth it, but all I need to do is just slide it in the van, get it to where I'm going, slide it out, and just leave, get my money. Because if I'm like, if I adopt the mentality that you have sometimes, I won't make any money. But I do understand why you
Right.
have that mentality.
Mm-hmm. Driving with Ty. He's like, let's blow up the goddamn roadie app.
Big up time, man.
I'm sorry. I'm actually trying to conduct business as we talk, and I know that's bad,
Yeah,
but
I could carry the I could you could do your thing, but I like to
no, no,
Giza,
no, no, no. Wait,
no,
go
you
ahead.
see you see this guy Ty, man. He's very very
Mm-hmm.
instrumental in my whole operation because I used to work out of the Acura MDX, and that was like my personal vehicle, and I was beating it up, putting mulch, soil, all these dusty products from Home Depot in the van, and the van was
Mm-hmm.
looking really, not the van, but the SUV was looking really filthy. And I started watching Ty's videos through Nova Hustles, and Nova
Mm-hmm.
was saying,
Right.
"Oh, Ty put me onto this app, this roadie app, Point
Mm-hmm.
Pickup." And I'm like, wait, because I used to only work DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub. And I'm like, what is this
Okay.
roadie thing? Point pickup. Let me download these apps. And it was a game changer
Mm-hmm.
for me. Working, just having a
Right.
arsenal of apps to just choose from. When one's slow, you work this
Right.
one. So Ty is the
Yeah.
guy who really
Mm-hmm.
inspired the whole multi-apping thing with a lot of us. And to even he became even more influential when he kept talking about this Dodge Caravan that he drives. "Oh, I bought this Dodge Caravan Facebook Marketplace," and
Right.
I don't know, this Dodge Caravan can't be so good. But I said, Ty, how many miles you've driven? And he's like, yo, man, I driven a lot of miles and I made a lot of money with this van. I said, man, I have to try it. And that was the inspiration behind me
Mm-hmm.
actually getting the van. And it's been a game
Right.
changer ever since.
So Ty, yeah, he mentioned that he mentioned when Ty appeared several weeks back that he suggested that you look into the mom van. I know you don't like me saying mom van, but
No,
that's what
no,
I think
no.
there are, mom
It's okay.
vans.
It's okay, man. My wife calls it the
Yeah,
bread
I mean it's
van
all good. I
because
mean,
yeah, my wife calls it the bread van because back in the islands, a van like that would be really good for
mm-hmm.
selling bread, putting all the pastries and the bread in the back. So
My end and your end. Okay. Yeah. Did you see the circles on your end and as well?
with circles. No, everything's good right now for me.
Okay. Okay, maybe it's on my end. I mean, like I explained, it's been that type of a day for me today. But you're saying they call it the bread van back in what's that? Saint
Yeah,
Vincent, the
yeah,
island.
Saint Vincent.
Okay, where's that? Where's that near?
That's west of Barbados, south of St. Lucia,
Okay.
north of Grenada. So
Hmm.
it's like right in the middle of those three islands.
Okay. Okay. Now, let's see here. How far is Curacao from your set of islands?
Well, Curacao is more like southwest.
I mean,
Yeah,
okay.
Curacao is more over, towards more like in the Caribbean Sea, towards South America.
Okay. 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 I'm that's the first time I heard of St. Vincent.
Yeah,
So
St. Vincent is like
I
5 hours
when
away.
I
It's like a
think of
5 hour flight
okay.
from New York.
All right, so I'm gonna do another dumb question. How far is in Antigua? Is that over
Well,
in
it's
Curacao side,
it's
or is it
it's
on
about
your
no
closer to your
Antigua
side?
is north of St. Vincent,
Okay, okay.
south of
Well,
Puerto Rico.
okay. Well, I have a favorite singer. He's no longer around, but he went by the name of John Lucien, and he was from Tortoloa. I think that's
Tortola,
the Virgin Islands, but Tortoloa,
Tortola.
Tartola, yeah,
Yeah, that's the British Virgin
right,
Islands.
Tartola.
Yeah,
Okay,
Tortola.
and uh, they once called him the Black Frank Sinatra back in the 1970s.
Oh,
Um,
I never heard of
but
him though.
those well, I was going to complete the sentence by saying those who are in the music industry knew who he was. They knew who he was. But anyway, we're talking about delivery and transport. I get off into some other shit
No,
sometimes.
it's okay, man. It's okay.
Well, now going back to then, one of the things that kind of now, yes, Gigabyte has checked out my content. I've checked out his content. We've interacted that way. Uh, I guess Ty's. Did you strap your back up today? Did you wear the back brace?
Oh, I didn't actually do any gig work today. I did the W2 today, but I've been wearing the back brace because, it's just a lot of soil and mulch, out here on the roadie.
Yes, it's mulch season, y'all.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mulch season, and that kind of leads into one of my questions. With mulch season upon us,
Hmm.
how do you do it, man? How do y'all do those orders for 30 and 40 at 30 somewhere between 35 and $45?
Yeah. So the
I
thing
mean,
is, right?
we're talking. Go ahead, but how do y'all do them?
Okay. The
Mm-hmm.
thing is, right, before on the roadie, those orders used to be paying 50 to $55. And last year I did a lot of
Mm-hmm.
those. And you made money because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people, they don't have the vehicle to carry the mulch. But don't get me wrong, I've seen a guy put 20 bags of mulch in his Hyundai Sonata. You know, guys are out here doing the unthinkable. But those orders used to pay
Mm-hmm.
upwards of $50. So it's worth it. For $50, you're like, yeah, you know what? 20 bags of mulch. It's up here, like in my neck of the woods. It's never really, like, I never did the 30 bags. It's usually like 15 to 20 bags.
Okay.
So I'm like 15 to
Mm-hmm.
20, $50. That's good because Giza, best believe that's the best I'm gonna get because remember, I'm working the gig
Mm-hmm.
apps and I'm doing the local
Right.
scene. I'm just staying local.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going regional. I'm not going state to state. I'm not doing anything from a broker, load boards, or carrier, anything. I'm taking what I can get.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of people could relate to this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working the Roadie app because that's the app that I, primarily work, right? And I'm taking what's
Mm-hmm.
there. So
Right.
for the mulch orders, you have to basically say to yourself, yeah, let me just bang this out, $50. And it got worse this year because the price dropped from 50 to 30, 37 to $40. And you're saying to yourself, God damn, but you still have to do
Mhm.
it, because if you don't do it, you're not going to make any money. Because let's say, for example, I go out early in the morning for the 7 or 4 roadie drops, and all that drop is mulch orders. What am I supposed to do? There's mornings I go out and I go back home made zero. You see? I go because I usually go back home to pick up my
Mhm.
wife and son.
Right.
I go back home, I make zero, but I don't panic. But I said to myself, I'm not doing these orders
Mhm.
this year, the mulch and the soil. But I ended up having to do it because that's what's available. So that's why I had to get the backstrap this
Right.
this year
Now,
because.
here's the thing. Here's the thing, man. Now,
Mhm.
this is why I keep saying what I said in some of my videos. 2023, when the apps at least appeared in my market, and I had mulch, even though with a van, but there were some orders where it wasn't like enough to fit on a pallet. Some
Mhm.
of those orders, those 50 bags of mulch are paying $250 plus.
Yeah.
Okay. And those 20, 30 bags that you're talking about, we're paying in upwards of 100. Okay. And this is on a different app, but it wasn't Roadie. But then again, I was killing Roadie by doing the early morning drops before everybody was talking about them, before the 520, before everybody's talking about the 520 drops. I live like 5 minutes from, I live like 5 minutes from a Home Depot, and I'd make my gas money for the day off of those 520 drops. But back to the mulch thing. So last year the price dropped. It was about this time of the year when the prices dropped, and you could still work it to get 100, the three digits, $100 plus. High end 125 to 140.
Mhm.
This year, I've seen it. What? That's why I'm asking you the $35 to $45 thing, because really and truly, that's one rail. Those are one rail numbers. One rail is the aggregator that doles out these orders to all the apps. If you look at their contract with Lowe's, that's their contracted numbers, and they finally got people to come down to their numbers, or else. That's the story behind the stories. But I get what you're saying. It's not so much as you having a van, or even so much as a Sprinter van or an SUV. And then I've heard, okay. I've heard other stories where roadies sent stuff to people who driving Hyundais, picking up fucking slabs of sheetrock and stuff, and they can't handle it. So anyway, David Roth. I was gonna say David Lee Roth, the former lead singer of Van Halen, but David Roth says in his area, 1,000 in weight is for $60 to $70, and that's a pallet of water. Pallet of water is like almost 2,000 pounds. The last time I moved a pallet of water, I was paid 125. So you see, these are things that I know that I don't talk about always with my channel, but then again, um, if I'm making those comments, it's because I'm speaking with some qualification. I've been there and done it. But anyway, he's just a gigolo. That's right. I like that song, man. I like that video. Dave, Dave, Dave. Anyway, you may not be familiar with that Gigabyte, but that's a
Not at
video
all.
from 1985.
Not at all. I was born in 87.
1985. Yeah, Geezer was around. Geezer was a younger guy, much younger guy when that came out.
Yeah. But the thing, right?
He's too young.
Yeah. The thing, Geezer, is like, I'm very limited in what I can do, because I have a job from Saturday to Wednesday, and my wife has a job. We have a son, and it's only the three of us. So my time's very limited. So I have a schedule,
Right.
So I try to my goal, you see, everyone's goals are different. My goal, my minimum is to just make $500 a week. That's my minimum. So if I make $500, I'm happy,
Right.
because at the end of the month, that's an extra $2,000 that I have in my pocket to help me. And my strategy is
Mm-hmm.
working. You know, and I heard you talk about profitability and everything. I'm profitable. You see what I'm saying? I'm
Mm-hmm.
in a very good spot right now because
Right.
of the way I work and just my strategy. Maybe sometimes people might see my videos and the kind of orders that I take. I take these orders because I'm
Mm-hmm.
able to stack orders on Roadie. And that's what I like about the Roadie app.
Right.
And that's what I like about having the space in the Dodge Caravan, right? Because I have no seats. You see, it's just a
Right.
big cargo space back there, you know? And I have an advantage. With Roadie, I get one order. I don't go to the Home Depot to pick up one order. When I get to the counter, I have 8 and 9 orders. Ty can tell you that's how he work. You
Wow.
know, him and I work very similar. So, um, like I get off the W-2 on a Saturday. I'm lining up orders even before I
Mm-hmm.
leave the job. So by the time I get to the Home Depot, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I got 7 orders to pick up. It might be small things. Bam, I might do a run, $60, and then I line up more orders. And then by the time you know it, I'm up 180. You see what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay, that's
Mm-hmm.
good money.
Yeah.
After I come off the W-2, I do my thing. I ride around, I watch videos, I watch movies, all sort, just chilling, dropping off it's easy for me. So I don't really look at it the way a lot of people look at it. Okay, all right, I got 20 bags of mulch. Let me put them in right there. Get to the drop off, slide them out. Bam, easy $40. You see what I mean? I know
Mm-hmm.
the pay has been reduced, but because of the way I work, because I'm savvy with it, I'm still profitable and I'm still making, the same money I was
Mm-hmm.
making last year. Because I'm like evolving and adapting, with as a time, with the times and the changes.
Right. Well, I get your point, and I've tried, and I think if you notice, I've not really used the term thirsty anymore. I'm not lambasting
Hmm.
people with thirsty. Um, I mean, hey, look, it's not like I started out with a van. As I tell everybody, I started doing gig economy in a 2009 Ford Taurus with 176,000 miles. When Bambi ran into it while I was doing a ride share ride, um, it had 300 and almost 310,000 miles on it. So
Wow.
it's I've worked my way to this point, so I understand people's situations, but at the same time, I guess what I try to do is at least challenge people to think differently about how they go about things. Um, I'm open. I welcome your feedback or opinion on that, since that's one reason why I kind of invited you on, because I think that we
Hmm.
would have a cordial conversation about maybe sometimes differing opinions.
Yeah. But the thing is, right? If you really sit back and you analyze, it's like a lot of us have a similar journey, because you talk
Mm-hmm.
about when you first started doing gig work, you started with rideshare, and then you started getting into
Mm-hmm.
Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash, those kind of apps, Instacart, and then look at where you move. You elevated
Mm-hmm.
from those apps, working your Taurus, your F-150, and then you moved up
Mm-hmm.
the Sprinter van, right? As you say, as you like to say, the Sprinter slash cargo van. You moved up to
Right.
that. So then the
Right.
Uber Eats and the DoorDash and the Grubhub, you're not even, and the rideshare, you're not even touching that anymore, right? So then you even took it a step further
Well,
from the,
I don't touch rideshare.
and then you hardly touch the food. You do the catering, but you're not going around doing
Mm-hmm.
$5 and $6 orders. If you have to, I
Oh
if you
no, I
do
never.
a if
Mm-mm.
yeah, if you do a food delivery order, I know it has to pay maybe $15 for you to do it. Those kind of
Mm-hmm.
numbers for you to really consider moving. So
Right.
you even
Mm-hmm.
elevated from the cargo van to the box truck. When I was watching your video and I'm like, what is this? What kind of box truck this guy talking about? I didn't even know you got the box truck, and then you reveal that you had the box truck since last year. You see? So
Right.
if you look at
Mm-hmm.
everyone, most people's journey, like if you're really watching the content and you really
Mm-hmm.
grasping and you taking all the gems and the game that the people on YouTube are dropping, the people who actually know what they're talking about, you could really elevate your game because
Right.
that is what happened to me. I started in my
Right.
Honda Accord
Mm-hmm.
doing DoorDash and Uber Eats, and then I added Grubhub, and
Right.
then I started watching
Mm-hmm.
Pedro. So when I started watching
Yeah.
Pedro, I'm like, whoa, this guy saying, once I started watching Pedro, I'm like, why am I taking these orders? And then I started watching Nova Hustle. At the time, he was Nova Dasher, and he said
Mm-hmm.
he's not taking nothing less than $7. And I'm like, whoa, what is this? So then once he said he's not taking anything less than $7, my standards went up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm not taking nothing less than $6. So then I started elevating my game, and from watching his channel, he spoke about point pickup. I'm like, yo, I gotta download. You remember, I know you talk about point pickup.
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of grocery orders from ShopRite with point pickup, Walmart routes, like
Mm-hmm.
TVs and stuff. I made a lot of money
Right.
on point pickup. Tire orders, even though the pay was really crappy on point pickup, but still it was
Yeah.
just the
Comparatively speaking, it was.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was just an opportunity. And I just started.
Right.
I added Roadie, Spark, Instacart, Metrobi. I know you don't like to name drop the apps, but I'm just speaking, my
Not
journey.
anymore. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
And
Mm-hmm.
I signed up for as many apps as I could. And I was working the apps, I was killing the app. So then I moved up from the car to the SUV because the transmission went while I was doing an Uber Eats order. So it killed my transmission. 200,000 miles on
Ooh.
the Honda Accord. Food delivery killed the Honda Accord. I know it for a fact because I remember I went out and I was out all day. I made $400. And at the end of that day, I heard a big clunk in my tranny. I was like, oh, shoot, what is that? And I kept driving it. And it,
Mm-hmm.
it, it held up for a while, and then it just gave out while I was doing the Uber Eats. So when I see people beating their cars into the ground, I'm
Right.
like, oh, man, they just don't know what's coming.
I'm curious to know when. Right
Mm,
now, I had this is years ago. Had a Q45,
mm,
and I was on the freeway, and all of a sudden, I was unable to accelerate on the freeway. I could get no more than 30 miles an hour on the freeway, and I'm like, "Oh shit, this feels like a transmission."
mm.
It was a transmission. But
Yeah,
how?
it
I
was.
mean,
That's what happened to
I
me.
guess there's multiple signs of how a transmission goes.
But that's the
Mm-hmm.
main sign. You're driving and all of a sudden you lose power. But then if
Mm-hmm.
you're persistent, then you can get it back. And then it would drive and then it would cut
Mm-hmm.
out again. And then you would, I completed that
Yeah.
order and then I was like, yeah, that's it, man. I put it down. I got rid of it. And I moved from the Honda
Mm-hmm.
to the Acura. When I started using the Acura,
Speaking of
mhm,
Speaking of vehicles, now remember recently I suggested about the rotors. You're talking about you having fan issues. The only reason why I suggested rotors because you said you changed everything else.
no, 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 no.
Everything. I mean,
I haven't changed. I haven't changed any. I bought that van and I
Mhm.
did not do the work that I needed to do because I'm a
Oh,
mechanic. I'm a mechanic by trade. That's what I do at my W2. So
okay,
I know what I can
okay,
work with from what I can't work with. So I'm like, yeah, I don't have to worry about anything. You know what I mean?
okay.
The parts very sturdy. I think my control arms are busted and everything because when I brake, you could feel a little movement. That's the control arms. You know. And what had
Hmm.
happened it was the engine mounts. The engine mounts was bad, and I think it put a lot of strain on the axle. I have the axle, but I just haven't got around to doing it. But
Hmm.
I was talking about the journey and the upgrades, because people could look at you yourself and be inspired because driving the box truck, and it opens up so much more opportunity because like when I moved from the car to the SUV, I was making more money because now I could take a
Right.
TV. Now I could take
Mhm.
a sofa, a small
Right.
sofa from Walmart. You know, these things mulch. And then
Mhm.
I said, you know, shout outs to Ty again. You know, I can't stop thanking him because he saved the Acura. He saved it because since I got the Dodge Caravan, I put like maybe almost 15,000 miles on it, and I probably put
Right.
3,000 miles on the Acura during that same period, just driving casually, you know, picking up and dropping off and going to work and stuff. So potentially
Mhm.
save my Acura, right?
Right.
And now I'm able to do loads and trips and stack up as many. I go to Home Depot. You can see the stuff in the back of my van. I'm like, I'm stacked up. I couldn't do that in that Acura. So that's the advantage. It gives me an advantage over all the other roadie drivers because a
Right.
driver may take one order and they're like, oh yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna get this dropped off. But me, I'm piling it on. I'm stacking it on. So I'm out there making a lot of money. You see what I'm saying?
That's something that that's something I didn't do a lot of though with the I think at the time with the Rody you could only do like 3 or 4 orders. So
The thing is,
Rody allows for you to do as many as you can handle now.
back then, I think most of us didn't know. I myself didn't know how to work the app. I really learned to work the Roadie app through, again, YouTube is educational, and you could just learn a lot of stuff if you watch the
Yeah.
right people.
Biggest
Mhm.
Yeah, YouTube is the greatest teacher out there right now.
I'm telling you, I was watching this I was watching this guy that did YouTube on his bike. I don't know if he upload. I don't think he uploads anymore. His name is Adrian McPherson, and he gave
Mhm.
me a shout out in his community post, and he also shouted out Pat Gigtainment. You probably familiar with Pat.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm familiar with
So
him.
I'm like, who's this Pat Gigtainment guy? So
Mhm.
I checked out Pat, and Pat spoke about the Roadie app and the little dot in the left hand side of the app. He said, if you click this dot when you have a gig and you click that dot, you can see all the other gigs that's available. I'm like, what the? I'm like, I didn't even know that.
Mhm.
I'm like, I didn't even know you couldn't do that. And that just changed the game for me. I think that was the back end of 2023. That was a game changer for me.
Mhm.
You know, because I wasn't making any type of money on the app.
Okay.
Like I was making money, but it wasn't like I was really making money. And then, you know, you watch guys like Ty.
I've been off the
Mhm.
Mhm.
No, you say
No, I was
you've
going
been.
to say I've been off the Rody app since July. I've been off Rody since July 2023, but I will tell you what I did
Mhm.
from January to July of 2023. I did just south of $7,500 on that app.
Listen, man, Roadie is where the
So-
money is at. A lot of people don't like the app because they don't like the process, but they don't know how to work the app. You see?
Mhm.
They really don't understand the way
Right.
the algorithm of the app works. But I've gotten to really understand how the app works, what you could get away with and what you can't get away with. You see, some people may think,
Mhm.
oh, you get the order, you got to run to the store right away. You got to, you got to go drop it off right away when you don't have to do all of that. It's recommended, but you don't
No,
really
you got some
have
time.
to.
You got some time.
Yeah, and
You
then
got
you
some
also
time. Now it
you
used
also
to be
have
you had an
Mhm.
hour to get there. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
And then you
Go ahead.
also have to understand things from the customer end, like what the customer sees, because the customer told me once you get the order, once you've been selected for the order, I see that you have my order. So then you got to
Mhm.
know, okay, how do I play this now? Because some customers track you, some customers don't, you know. So the app, in my
Right.
opinion, is the easiest app to work. It's just the ease. There's nobody micromanaging you, like nobody hitting you up and say, hey, are you not going to drop this order off? You know what I'm saying? Like some of these other apps like Freight, they'll hit you up, send pics. I got deactivated from Senpex because a guy kept hitting me up. Hey, are you gonna go pick up the order? I said, bro, I'm gonna pick up the order. Why are you micromanaging me? Next thing I know, I can't get in the app. Deactivated. So with
Wow.
Roadie, it's it's hassle free. It's really, really hassle free, and you don't I don't work with any anxiety when I'm working the Roadie app, because when you're out here doing these deliveries, sometimes there's an anxiety. I gotta get to the pickup, I gotta get to the drop off. With Roadie, there's none of that. As long as you're moving, you ain't gotta worry about that. There's some orders that's timed and they would take it away from you, but if you know you have a decent order, you try to get to the store. Like you have a huge order, you have 1 or 2 or 3 huge orders, you want to get to the store so that you can pick up your orders and make your money. But it's the easiest app to work,
Right.
and it's the app that I make the most money with. But I also have
Well, Ty
mhm.
Ty said he made 52 on
Listen,
Brody last year. Just on Brody.
Ty is killing it because Ty knows how to work the app, and Ty, he has the equipment for success. He got the van, he got the caravan, so he knows what he's doing. Plus, Ty, he has the time as well. And he also has the discipline. That's what you gotta have. You gotta make sure you got the discipline. Like me personally, I wake up early every single day, and I've been practicing this for like the last almost 2 years, I should say. Like last year and this year. Like every single day, I wake up early. I'm never in the bed past 7. Never. And nowadays, I'm never in the bed. Let me say 6. I'm hardly ever in the bed past 6.
Now, I want to ask you that. I want to ask you a question, because now I mentioned in promoting up to this, you're up doing gig app, then you come back, wife and son, then you do W2, then you come back, wife and son.
No, this is what I do.
Gig app.
This is what I do, right?
Okay.
This is what I do. This is my schedule. Since, I'm your guest, I'm a break it down, let people know, my schedule, because it could inspire someone to get their act together and get their schedule together, because you got to have a schedule, you got to have a regimen if you are going to be successful. First of all, you got to wake up early. So for my W2, I work the W2 from Saturday to Wednesday. For the W2, I wake up at 4 a.m. because I got to be there at 5. So Saturday, 4 a.m., get to the job for 5. I get off at 1. When my wife's not working a second job, I'm free for the rest of the day. I'm out there doing gig apps till maybe about 7, 8 o'clock. I get home. I do the same thing again on Sunday. So then when Monday comes, I go to the W2 and I chill. I don't do no gig work on Mondays. Tuesday, I might do the same thing, but sometimes I may go out in the evening and do a bit of Walmart, Spark, DoorDash. Wednesday is like my Friday now. So I do the W2 and then I'm free in the evening. I could go out and do some Spark and DoorDash. Those are my evening apps because I'm available from like 7 to 10. So I do a little Spark, a little DoorDash. Because Roadie doesn't have anything available really after those times, And now Thursday and Friday are really like my free days. Those are the days when I do the wife and son thing. Thursdays, and because I'm off from work, so I go out early, and then I have to be back to drop my son to school, and then I drop my wife off, and then I'm free until 2 when I have to pick him up again, and then I'm with him until I gotta pick my wife up, and then I'm free again after that. So I have to it's like a balancing act.
So
and,
there is structure to what you're doing, but the way you describe it, there's a lot.
Yeah, it is structure, but it is a lot to handle. But once you're motivated, and money is a great motivator. Once you're motivated,
yes, always.
I'm telling you, once you're motivated, you're gonna make it work. And I'm telling you, I've done very well. Like my goal last year was to make 40K doing gig work. And I almost hit it. I fell short maybe about 3,000, So for me to make $37,000, just barely out. I'm part time. Most of the people that you talk to, they're
Right.
full time. Maybe with
So
the
then
exception.
you go ahead.
No, I said maybe with the exception of maybe a few people like Nova Hustles. Maybe he has a W-2, but most of the
Mhm.
other people, they're full time. So it's just good to hear the perspective from a person who has a W-2 and who does gig work at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I think you are the first. Well, no, Nova was on, and then I guess I could throw in Nola Grind because he does poker. That's his main thing. So I've tried to have a mix of people on this live stream, but that said, you have mentioned that you've kind of had one foot in, one foot out. What has kept you from really going all the way in?
Well, I was about to get to that because let me say this, man. The way the world is right now, the way the economy is right now, it's critical out here.
Mm-hmm.
It's critical. You see what the gig apps are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's work, there's heavy volume. Other times there's hardly any volume, right? One time you're getting paid $50,
Mm-hmm.
other time they're dropping it. It's like things are getting harder, but these gig apps are dropping the pay. So it doesn't really add up, right? But then, like sometimes you if you do the Lowe's orders, right, on freight or Senpex, you get a invoice, and then you see how much the customers are paying.
Mm-hmm.
And a customer might pay $80, and they might give you $25, and then you're like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" You know what I'm saying? Like, what is going on?
Right.
Not like if the customers are paying, are having free shipping. There are promotions for free shipping, but the customers are paying for shipping, and it's the same on Roadie for Home Depot as well. When a customer orders 40, 50 bags of mulch, they have to pay about $85 to get those things delivered. A customer told me that. He's like, "Oh, whoa, it was charging me $85." I was like, whoa, let me split up and take advantage of the free shipping or the $2 shipping. And then when you see what these apps are doing, you're like, damn, man, they're shafting us. That's why, sometimes I'll be like, but it is what it is. I want the opportunity. I don't have to do this, but I choose to do it. You see what I mean? Or the way I look at it, they can give the orders to somebody else, but they give it to me. So I'm taking the opportunity. But going back to why I had one foot in, one foot out, because I was doing so well with gig work that I'm like, yo, man, because last August, the middle of August to the middle of September last year, I was off. And I made so much money during that time.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, whoa, if I'm actually doing this, I'll make way more money than I'm making at my W-2. But then I was like, oh no, man, it's so volatile out here. It's like, it's hard to really like fully commit. And I said to myself that I wanted to save about $50,000. That's the cushion I wanted. I'm like 50,000 because I'm a homeowner, and I have 3 kids. I have responsibilities, so I can't just jump into gig work, and
that's very compelling.
yeah, you know what I mean. I just can't just go all in and pray that it works. You see what I mean? So I was like,
right. Again, that's very compelling.
Yeah. I was trying to convince myself, like, yeah, do it, because then the freedom as well. I love the freedom that, I could get up, I could do whatever I want, make my money, I could take a break, go back, make more money, take a break, handle my business still, do my family thing and still be making money. But then I said, whoa, I could keep the W-2 and do the gig work, and I could still do great. You see what I mean? Because
right,
like last year, with my numbers, both the gig work and the W-2 combined, I did really good. You see? And
right,
this year, the way I'm working, and the way my strategy is, like let's say, for example, let's just use this number for example. if you make $3,000 every 2 weeks with your W-2 and gig work combined, you multiply that 3 by 26, you get $78,000. And I mean just cash money. That's after the taxes from the W-2. And you're not even factoring the taxes when it comes to the gig work, because then you're using your miles, if you use an itemized deduction, then you use everything. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So and I heard you, was it you? I think it was you, Big CJ mentioned when you have a business, you gotta spend money. Because I think it was CJ. Spend money because you're gonna use
CJ.
that. Yeah, you're gonna use that expense. You're gonna use the expense as a write-off to help you your taxes.
Right. Right. I'm gonna take time out to now let some folk here kind of go down the list here. Brian Pruden, he said he earned $2,500 last week on roadie. That's pretty damn good, man.
Listen,
Mr. Cortell,
that's true.
Now I'm gonna throw this guy out here because I wanted to bring him up, but I didn't just yet. But bear with me here. I'm gonna show him this guy. I'm gonna go back to the list of everybody here. But this guy, Believe Gig Works. He's been killing, at least on roadie. That's been his main app. Roadie.
All right,
and he's out of New York City. He's out of the New York City area.
The thing with him, right? He has a van. He's Jamaican, and if you know anything about Jamaicans,
okay,
when you leave Jamaica, I'm not Jamaican, but when you leave Jamaica and you have an opportunity to come here for a better life, you're gonna grind. Them Jamaicans be having 2 and 3 jobs. You see? So for him, it's the hustle, and he knows how to work the app now. So that's why he's killing it, because a lot of the other people don't know how to work the app. Believe me, they don't. You see, I see people come to Home Depot and stand up there and wait half an hour for 9 bags of soil that's only paying $10.
Yeah.
While I'm there waiting,
they should have thrown it back.
No, but I'm saying I'm there waiting and I'm adding orders while I'm there waiting. I'm just piling it on. You see? So once you know how to work these apps, you're going to make money. So that's why he's over in the Bronx as well.
Right.
He's over in the Bronx. So he never really touches Queens, Long Island, Brooklyn. He's just up there killing the Bronx and upstate White Plains and Yonkers and those places.
Okay.
So
Now Cortez Alex, he's been a regular viewer and participant in my live streams. Okay, I noticed a little switch, a little pause there, so I held up talking. But anyway, he asked me why I stopped using the new microphone. That's killing him. To answer the question, I have been using the microphone. It's just that sometimes, in fact, I explained earlier, what happens is sometimes I'll cut away and then come back, and then the microphone will cut off. I've actually recorded stuff, and then I have no audio, so I've had to come back and either remanufacture some of what I documented. So I am still incorporating the new microphone. It's just taking a little time for me to work through the kinks. Patrice, he's somebody here in the Columbia area. He understands about being committed to doing this full time. He's a tattoo guy. Let's hear it. Ty, he said he just made $1,000 last week, but he's already up. He's at 800. If I were to tell you my numbers, let's just say that I am. It just depends. I mean, I'll give you the number. I'm just south of 1,400 for the week. But I've had weeks where I've been right around 3,000 by Wednesday. So. It just depends on what's going on.
You're doing good, man. You're doing good. I have a question for you, right? I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
And what made you want to, like, you basically have a fleet going on right now, you know? And that is something that
Who?
I know a fleet. I said you have a fleet going on right now. You have the box truck, you have the van.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I see. I
you
see what
have
you're
the
saying.
yeah,
Okay.
you have the
Uh-huh.
Ford F-150, and you just have a lot of
Mm-hmm. And
choices.
a
And
Taurus. And a Taurus at
oh, and
my
you still have the
disposal.
Taurus. You
Uh-huh.
see, so for you right
Mm-hmm.
now, you're at a you at such an you have such an advantage above the other drivers, that if there, and I know you work with brokers and stuff, right? And if there's a
Mm-hmm.
load that requires a box truck, you could put your hand up. You could put your name in the hat. Hey, I'm available to do this. Bam, bam, bam. If there's something that requires maybe like the van,
Mm-hmm.
you use the van. But I think for you now, the
Mm-hmm.
box truck, you probably
Mm-hmm.
only need to use the box truck when you need the box truck. You see what I'm saying? When it's a load that requires something bigger than the van.
There's some
Is
truth to
that the
that.
reason?
I
Is
mean,
that
I'm
the
not I'm
reason
not
why?
playing coy. It's just that I probably use a box truck more than what you give me credit for. What I'm really letting you on. I mean, between like December and March, the box truck was doing both van truck stuff because the van was down.
Yeah,
Right
yeah. You
now,
see, but the thing is, you never revealed to us that the van was down, though.
mm-hmm.
You know, I watch all your videos, man. I might not comment on the videos, but I
Mm-hmm.
watch all the videos. Like I'm a student. The thing
Mm-hmm.
is, you have to be a student. You always got to be a student of the game. You can't think, oh yeah, I'm too
Right.
big. I'm making money. I'm the man out here. I don't care what anybody else want to do, but I'm a student. I stay a student to the game. You see? And I learn from everybody. But now I'm mostly
Right.
consuming, van content, box trucks, and I'm not really watching, DoorDash drivers and Uber Eats and all of that, because I don't really do much of that these days. When I'm working DoorDash,
Right.
I'm doing BJ's orders, shopping and pickup. And those are
Right.
paying upwards of between $15 and $40, so pretty decent for minimal work and
Right.
stuff that I actually like to do. You see what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And I must add this. I actually like to do this. This kind of work, this is not a task for me. I enjoy doing it. I don't know what it is, but this shit gets my blood boiling. Like I can't wait.
Oh
You
man. Okay.
listen. I
I
can't
can't
wait,
say that.
man. I don't know about you, but I can't wait till tomorrow morning. I can't wait to get up
I
5:50.
can't say that.
Check the Roadie app. Let me see if anything's available early. Bam. Let me brush my teeth, wash my face. I'm out of here. You know what I mean? That's me. I can't wait.
I
Because
can't
I
say that.
know I know the rewards. You see what I'm saying? I know
Yeah.
like when
Mm-hmm.
I could transfer from my Roadie account, I could transfer $600 to my savings account. I feel good because I'm watching it grow, and I'm looking at it and be like, damn, man, this gig work thing is really working out for me. You know what I mean? The way I see it, believe me, the way I see it, I found a loophole. Like I look at the guys at work
Okay.
doing overtime, 12-hour shifts, and I'm like, bye, I'm out of here. 1 o'clock, I'm gone. And because I know
Mm-hmm.
I'm out here doing deliveries, doing something that I actually enjoy. Nobody has to tell me what to do. I'm not extremely tired at the end of the day because I'm in the van. I'm just chilling. I can go and eat whenever I want. I could do
Right.
whatever I want. You see? So
Mm-hmm.
it's been a good journey for me so far,
Well,
man. And
again,
mhm.
I'm glad for you. I'm glad for you in that respect. Again, I say I can't say that about my doing this. Um, for me, the lifestyle was when I was a newspaper reporter, when I was in print media, because that was a childhood aspiration. That's what I went to school for.
Mhm.
In sixth grade, when everybody talking about what they want to be when they grew up, I said I wanted to be a sports reporter. I was a sports reporter. I was one of the best in the country. I was on the same path as Stephen A. Smith until I got blackballed. Okay. That was my life. What I'm doing now is something that's, I've managed to make something work at this stage in life that they're not going to pay me to do that. But if I had my choice, I would be doing more media stuff, and I'd be at the bowling alley. That would be my choice. But
I feel you, man.
Life doesn't always go according to the way you write it, draw it up on the chalkboard.
I feel it.
But you make go ahead.
No. You say what you're saying.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying, like, for me, like with the W2.
No, it's just that there's this delay. Go ahead.
Yeah, with the W2, I'm not really like a person that's into cars and I want to rebuild engines and, and I get really dirty. I'm not that type of mechanic. You see what I'm saying? I went to school for this. I got a job at the airport working on a fleet of vehicles. We have some Mitsubishi and Isuzu vehicles that's fitted for fueling. That's where I work. I work at the fueling company at the airport. So it's like a job that's always available. We open 24/7 every single day of the year. We never close. My job never closes. So it's like, I'm like, whoa, this is a great job to have. That's why I'm still there. So when I go to work, I basically change into my uniform and I take a pickup and I go on the ramp. I go ramp side where the planes and the, taxiing, not out in the restricted area, but in the area where, you're getting everything ready. I'm out there. So that's where I am. So it's like my job isn't so exciting as it used to be when I first started, because when I first started, I was in the shop actually getting dirty and doing breaks and doing, preventative maintenance and just working. But these days, I have seniority. I've been there over 11 years and I'm just chilling. Believe me, I go to work, I'm just chilling. So the gig work for me is really like an escape, and it helps me to get out the house, get a bit of my freedom back, because then I had, basically you lose your freedom when you have a wife, and then you kind of lose your freedom, because it's like you got to be home. No, for me, it's the way I did it. The way I trained my wife is like, I would always come home, you see? So I would go to work and come home. So then if I have to go out, it would be like, yo, where you going? You know what I'm saying? Like, where you going? Like, I want to come. I'll be like, yo, man, I just want to breeze. You know what I'm saying? I just want to just go and just breeze, So then that becomes a problem. So now for gig work, I got my freedom. I'm out there. I have my thoughts to myself. I can figure stuff out. I figure out a lot of stuff out there, because I'm just there thinking, I'm calculating. So I love it, man. I gotta say, I love what I do, and I do it for supplemental income, not because I have to, and it's the only thing available for me, but I do it because I enjoy doing it, and I get to interact with people, and I get to be out there, and I get to, make a lot of money. There's weeks I make more money doing this than I make at the W2. So
that's pretty good then.
Yeah, so it's
that's pretty good.
Very rewarding, I must say.
Well, I'm not mad at you. I am not mad at you, Dominic, not at all. In fact, I'm glad that you agreed to come on. I know that took you a month before you recognized that the old guy had actually approached you.
I was like, what? I'm like, what is this guy's beef with me?
I ain't got nothing against you, man.
I'm like, this guy got a problem with me. I see everybody coming on. I'm like, what is going on?
You'd be surprised though. You were one of the few who responded back. I mean, there are people that are out there that I've put stuff out there to. I'm not naming names, and I've gotten zero response. Now it could be that people don't check out their emails, or maybe they do got something against me. I think one of them philosophically, we're diametric opposites. So, and I think that person had also unsubscribed to the channel. So, hey, okay, I'm good. I unsubscribed from his channel too, so I'm good.
You see, the thing is, I know you usually do your show for 1 hour, but you know, I feel like there's so much to talk about. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's like so much, and I think you know, the reason why I shared a lot of what I shared, and I spoke positively about gig work and about what I'm doing, is to just inspire someone else and to show them that there is a way to do things without basically bankrupting yourself. You see? And you know, because the way Ty is the one who really put me on, as I said, and I bought that van for $3,000, and I've already made it back maybe 15-fold.
Wow.
So right now, if the van is to just blow up, burn to the ground, I missed the van, but I could go out there and use the same blueprint again. $3,000, and I've hardly put like any money into it in terms of major repairs. I'm gathering parts to do a major repair, to do like you know, suspension, a lot of suspension work, rear end and front end, but I haven't really put a lot of money into it. So I know I've seen you guys discuss people going and buying vans, and now they regretted it because they're not getting work, and there's a certain individual who feels like they're responsible for that and all of that. You know, I'm not gonna call any names and whatnot.
Yeah,
but
I know. Yeah.
you know,
I will say this much. I hope that folk will be able to find, at least they can search through the archive and all. But I'm not going around telling folk go buy a van. I've never said that. I've answered people questions, but I've never said go get you a van. Go get you a van.
I was actually thinking about that. I was thinking about getting a van, but when you look at the prices, and then when you look at some of the red tape that you have to deal with when it comes to, you know, getting a van, you're like, I don't know, man. You know, it's like, you know, do I need to get commercial plates? Do I need, you know, what are the loopholes around these things? You see what I mean? And then I'm like, I don't want to be driving around feeling paranoid and I can't go on the parkways, because if I go on the parkways, I might get pulled over. And, you know, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just hold off on the van. And
I think that's also depending on where you are. I mean, where you are, I understand you have to have a certain license plate for that. Here in South
New York City is different, you know. And I'm telling you, oh man, that van, man, I can't praise this van enough. That Dodge Caravan is like, that's a game changer. I spoke about getting a van for months. And my wife is like, man, that's all I hear you talk about, man, getting a van. And I'm like, listen, man, I want it. But then I said to myself, you know what, man, I don't think I'm going to pull the trigger. I don't want to get a van and then it's a lemon. I said, you know what, I'm going to try my hand with this Caravan here. I drove it. I'm like, it's exactly what I need. It's not the best van, but it held up, man. It held up. And next month, let me say this, next month would make 1 year since I've owned that van.
It's been that long?
It's been that long. 1 year, June. The first day I worked the van was June 17th.
Wow, it's been that long.
It's been that long, man. It survived the summer. It survived a harsh winter, and we're back at it again.
Wow. Now, it's funny you would say that about how you had your eye. I think I described it, though, but I had my eye on, at least at the beginning of last year, to get a cargo trailer or just one of those free trailers, and I'd get a trailer hitch for the F-150. And then I had certain cash game things in mind with it. But then I have a fast friend who has he has a full suite of options. I talk about him. I never mention by name, but this is someone I've been in very constant contact with for over 2 years now. And in a sense, he kind of has provided me kind of the model for which I've done things. He has his specialties. Apparently I have my own specialties, but So I decided, well, for what I want to do, maybe a box truck would be the the better option. And so for the next several months, I kept buying box trucks, box trucks, box trucks, box trucks. And so eventually things opened for me where I got a box truck. But I get what you're saying, man.
Yeah.
Similar thing, you kind of set your sights on it, and then it's like, okay, I got to do this.
Yep. But yeah, man. Just to wind down, because I know
Mhm.
we've been talking for over an hour.
Yeah.
You just gotta have a strategy, man, with gig work. Just for the people that's watching, people that found the live stream. You gotta have a strategy, and you gotta be flexible. You gotta also be flexible. Some days are gonna be slow. You're gonna have to take orders that you don't regularly take. It's like for me, I
Mhm.
I, I like working the freight app. So if it's a slow day and I see an order on freight from my local, it has to be at my local Lowe's. It's located in a place called Rosedale. Once I see Rosedale, I click it, accept. I'm not even looking at what it is. I'm just accepting it because I know
Mhm.
whether it's a water heater or whether it's some piece of fencing or whatnot, I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna suck it up, drop it off, and make my $25 to $35. I'm not gonna whine and worry about the pricing because for me, it's just about the opportunity to make the money. So I'm done with the oh yeah, that's not yeah, okay. If there's an order like 2,000 pounds and it's like a lot of stuff, I'm not gonna put in for it on Roadie. I'm not gonna do
Right.
that because I
Mhm.
know I could do three small orders and make the same money. So I'm not gonna do any ridiculous type of orders. But when you're out here, you just have to take what you can get and work within your capacity,
I
basically.
agree with I agree
You
with you
know?
on that. I think that's
And
what we can. I think
yeah,
that's what we can end it on, man.
yeah,
Agreeing
yeah, yeah.
working within what you can handle. That's a good strategy right there. If you're trying to bite on more than you can handle, you will fuck up. You will crash and
Exactly.
burn, and
You
you
know.
will feel as if you got fucked over by these apps.
And
I
the
agree
thing
with you on that.
too, just before we go, over time we see a lot of new faces and some of the old faces we don't see them anymore. And then you wonder what happened. So
Mhm.
for us who's been doing this for so long, it must mean that we're doing something good and we're really experts at what we're doing.
Mhm.
Because it's like for me, the ease of which I do things is it's just getting easier and easier. I'm like, this is too easy. You see what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
I'm like, it's so easy. Like I go to the stores, I'm not stressing the people at the stores. I'm waiting. I'm saying, yo, you want some help? So it's like, I don't know, man. It's my blood just it just gets my blood boiling just doing gig work and talking about the gig work and everything. I wish I could come on and have more discussions with Ty and yourself and more
You know
people,
what?
but
I'm gonna throw this out there since Ty's been hanging out. What I'm gonna do is a 3-man panel one time.
yeah,
Ty's been on
yeah,
now,
we could.
you've been on, so that'd be probably the next thing I'll do is to try to get us all on here at the same time on a
Yeah, we could
Wednesday, and
definitely do that, man.
and it'll just keep that in mind. Ty, keep that in mind. I'll be approaching y'all for a Wednesday in which all three of us will talk about things as well. Here on I'm Speaking.
Yeah,
Dominic,
definitely.
Gigabyte New York City. Thanks for coming
Yep.
on, man. I know
Yeah,
it's bedtime
respect.
now for both of us.
Yeah. Thanks for everyone, who came and watched the live stream, who participated in the chat and, appreciate you guys coming out. I know I haven't been like reading the comments, I've just been focused,
Mhm.
but big up and appreciate everybody who came through.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna let you out here. I'm gonna wind up everything, and we will be in contact, man. We'll be
Yeah,
and look
most
for your
definitely,
email.
man.
Look for your damn
Yeah,
email.
definitely, man. Thanks for having me, and I appreciate coming on and finally getting to chat with you.
All right, man. Good enough.
All
All
right.
right, all right, y'all. Thanks for hanging out tonight, joining the damn conversation. I'm gonna close out with let's see, Brian. Ford Transit Connect made a lot with that money. You know what? I'm gonna share this with you, Brian. The young guy whom I met back in 2022, he has a he had a Dodge Ram city van, the small one. And now, while I wasn't going to go after that van, it was my conversation with him and him having that small van that got me thinking about looking into a Sprinter/cargo van. That is the story behind the story there. Um, Ty, yes, we're gonna do it, man. Look for an email from me at some point. Dave, thanks for coming through here. I think this is the first time I've seen you come through here, joining the damn conversation. Mr. Cortez, Alex, hey, thanks for coming back through here again. Yeah, check out the rewind. It'll be uploaded almost like within minutes after I sign out of here. Now, I don't have anybody set up yet for next week's I'm speaking, but if not, if I don't have anybody set up, it'll be a free game night in which I will talk about some things and then invite y'all to join the damn conversation that way. So that's all. That's really all I have to say. One other thing, I'm gonna share this small Reggie Rich. If it's whom I think it is, you've been on here, man. Thanks for coming through here. What I'm gonna share is that with the box truck, I've put this out there before, but I will say that I have earned at least 3 times my investment on the box truck already. So it's more than paid for itself. It is something that I paid cash, and so it's been a good investment for me. I got what my money could buy me at the time. I've got my eyes on a 26-foot with a lift gate, and when I get that, man, it's going to be a different world for me from that point forward. But that's what I'm working on now. But we'll have another conversation next week. Thanks for hanging out with me this week. And as I always say, may your grind and may your hustle continue.